Woohoo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forex Toastmasters Speechcraft session number 4. We don't have an official meeting number because this is a Speechcraft session rather than a formal meeting. Thank you for coming along. I'm going to do the introductory bit in a moment so we all know who's here. But just before we do, a couple of ground rules for those of us in the room, and I suppose for anybody who's at home as well. If you have a mobile phone, please place your mobile phone into silent so that it doesn't go off in the middle of the meeting. If there is a fire here in the library, our fire escape is over to the right. Please go that way rather than behind me, because if you go behind me, then somebody will catch fire and that's not so good. We'll, as I say, do the introductions second. What else do I tell you? That you're being timekeeper? Photographs. Photographs. Oh yes, thank you. Just a word of warning, we will be taking photographs during this session. Many of these photographs may get used for our social media or other promotional material. If there are any objections, please let me know. No objections? Good. We will continue then. Also, the club mission, the mission of a Toastmasters club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. That is also the mission of a Speechcraft course, but you will note the wording of that. We don't teach you communication and leadership skills. We provide you with the opportunity to develop them. We will give you assistance, but it is your learning experience. Toastmasters is not a pass-fail organization, for example. All right, so that's all of the background. Now let's go through the introductions. I've mentioned that my name is Graham Cairns. I'm one of the coordinators of this Speechcraft course. Our other coordinator is Adi Strickland. Say hello, Adi.
Hello, everybody. I don't think I'm visible.
Right. We'll go down to, go across to Dylan.
So we're going to Dylan and passing it along.
Hello, I'm Dylan. Mic drop.
Hello, I'm Long. Nguyen.
Hello,
Hello, everybody. My name is Rob, and pleased to be here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Valenzuela. I am a guest on Toastmaster.
Hello, my name is Evelyn. Evelyn. Or you can call me Eve. That's okay.
on the other side of the room, we have Anthony. Hello, Anthony. And,
Buongiorno, gracias.
Hi, I'm Sue. This is my third visit to Forex Toastmasters. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Now, online, let's start with Judith.
Judith Roarth, President of Weblick Online.
Well, moving directly below you on my screen to Steve.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve, member of Brisbane Sunrise Speakers.
Cross to Tom.
Hello everyone, Tom Logan, President of the Forex Toastmasters. I'm joining from home today as a rarity, so looking forward to that experience.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome, welcome. Mark is here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a member of Forex Toastmasters and I'm the Vice President of Education. Nice to meet you all.
Hey.
Oh, membership, sorry, not education.
Membership. I was going to say, are you taking over as VPE? Oh, that's an interesting one. No, you don't want that role? Hello, Sue. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. My name's Sue Pinker in Mercury's Motivators and Weblick Club. Here as a very interested observer to see how good Speechcraft courses run.
Let me know if you find it. No, seriously, we're doing all right here, so thank you for that. And Ellen.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm here for, like Sue, for the Speechcraft experience. I'm a member of the Inner Skull Toastmasters Club.
Thank you. And one final person to introduce herself is Helen.
Hi everyone, I'm Helen. I'm a member of Forex Toastmasters and also Goal Setters, which meets in the city as well.
Fabulous. So now we all know who we are. We've seen each other. We've all spoken. We know what's going on. Now let me hand control of the meeting to our Speechcraft coordinator for this session, the one, the only, don't swoon, she is only human, but here she is, Adi Strickland. And we're now being asked to touch elbows rather than shake hands again because COVID, yada, yada.
And that's where it goes. So we have two speakers today, since some people had a break, decided they'd take a longer break. Two speakers giving up their presentations, and I suppose there'll be a lot of table topics today. Let's say number one to speak, I think, is Sandra. Is that right? No.
No, we have Judith.
Oh,
and
that's
we have Stephen.
Judith and Stephen, sorry.
And I'm
So,
evaluating Steve.
yeah, I'm going to.
Now, the evaluation of Judith is being done by Anthony.
Very good. So these are 3 to 4 minute speeches. They are knowing your purpose in your speech. So with, I think it's what is the value of colour?
3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, what is the value of colour? I'm going to ask.
Why does colour mean so?
Who's chiming, please, Ada?
Let's bring the next question. Would somebody online like
Helen.
Helen, great. Thank you, Helen.
I think Helen put her hand up.
Oh, Helen's got timing lights. Good.
Excellent.
Okay. Stephen speaks is.
Why does colour mean so much? Oh, well, that's even more expressive. So I'm going to invite Stephen. He has been a long-term member, not long-term, quite a medium-term member of Brisbane Sunshine Speakers. And I think colour is something that affects all of us. So why does colour mean so much? Stephen.
Thank you, Adi. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. What kinds of leaders come in 4 different colours? I ask you. Or is that too cryptic? It's July, and the world's largest sporting event is on, the Tour of France. You may have seen it on TV by chance or by intent. And you might have thought it actually resembles organised chaos. There's actually a time in France when everybody's on their summer holidays, and it's a time of great celebration. And the focus of everybody is on this extravagant sporting event, the Tour of France. In an attempt to improve your appreciation, understanding, or even interest in the Tour of France, I thought I'd explain a little bit about just one aspect that may help you come to a greater understanding of what's actually going on. And that is the colours of the different jerseys. In professional cycling races, different coloured jerseys are awarded to leaders of different competitions within the race. These different competitions are fiercely contested, have enormous prestige, and are very important to riders when they're negotiating contracts with sponsors and teams and working out how much money they're going to get paid. The first jersey, there are 4 jerseys in the Tour of France. There's a yellow one, a green one, a polka dot one, red dots on yellow jersey, and a white jersey. The first jersey, the yellow one, the Maillot Jaune, is the most sought after prize in professional cycling. The winner of it is given to the winner. The winner is determined by is given to the rider of the smallest cumulative time over the entire race. The background to the yellow colour is the fact that the Tour of France was initiated by a sporting newspaper back in 1903, and the colour of the paper that the newspaper prints on is yellow, hence the yellow colour. The other jersey is a green jersey, is given to the leader of a points competition. And within each race, there are intermediate sprints, and each of these sprints bears points for different riders coming through different riders. And the total of all those points over the entire race is given to the leader of that competition is given the green jersey. The other polka dot jersey is a King of the Mountains jersey. And it again is a points jersey where riders who come over the top of designated climbs first are awarded points. So we've got 3 different jerseys. The yellow jersey given to the, oh, sorry, I've missed one there. The white jersey is given to the youngest rider, or the rider who is 25 years old or younger, and who is the highest ranked in that age group. So we've got 4 different jerseys: yellow, green, polka dot, and white. And I hope that I may have in some way enlightened you a little bit as to what is going on when you're watching any racing on TV. Back to you, Adi.
Thank you so much. And now I know all those different colours. I'll be watching with more interest, as I'm sure everybody else will be. Better stand in the middle so you can see me. Okay, the next person will be Judith, and Judith will be about pathways.
Yes.
Pathways, positives. Very good.
Focus on the positive.
Yeah, focus on the positive. Yes. Well, there are a lot of positives. I'm sure we'll all be glad to hear about them going onwards. Welcome, Judith, with Pathways, the positives.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The positives of pathways. Now, there are 11 pathways, and I have finished 6. At the moment, I'm working on completing 2. The positives, in level 1, and this is what I'll tell you because the speech crafters won't know the rest of them. Level 1, we have an icebreaker. That's a 46-minute speech, and you introduce yourself to the club. The next one is writing a speech with purpose. And I think that's what we're doing today. Purpose of writing a speech. It's to motivate, and it's to share some knowledge that you may have that others may want to know. Then there's an introduction to vocal variety, getting your voice up and down, or body language. You know, make it mean something. But in pathways, we have there's an educational as well. So if you've been doing this for a very long time, you can use it as an educational. Evaluation and feedback. Now, this is where people get confused. You do a speech that it is evaluated by one of your club members. Then you impart those evaluation points into your speech and then do that speech again. And the other part to this number 4 in your pathways, in your level 1, is when you evaluate a speech and then someone comes in and evaluates you. And then you get feedback on your evaluation. So it makes six parts to your level 1. The other items in your pass, in all different levels, there's a piece on mentoring. There's also an active listening that goes with table topics. Now, I recommend if you're the Vice President Education and you've got someone doing table topics, don't waste time by putting table topics evaluations on your agenda. Put an active listening segment for that table topics master in there. It's an elective and it's right across most parts. Have a look at it, read the assignment, and you'll see how easy it is. The other thing is when we're online, do a managing online meeting. And I think that's in a level 4. So that's a pathway project that can be done if you have Zoom. And if you have hybrid meetings or Zoom meetings that you attend, or your executive meets online, everyone can take a turn at doing a managing online meeting. This is something in WebLec we do very well. We have online meetings and we have active listening. The general evaluator gets opportunities to read out the assignment, the purpose of those 2 items, and they evaluate the people. So it works really well. So get on board with pathways, have a look. It's exciting to see 11 different paths. And we're at the moment asking for another 2 paths to be made up and got some ideas for that. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for that. I really enjoyed hearing all the different ways that the pathways can add to your meetings instead of just simply doing the speeches that are part of the pathways. I'd now like to bring along Graham Cairns with evaluations first. Are we going to do evaluation first? All right, going to. So with the first evaluation, Graham Cairns. He's coming on. The one and only, the magnificent, the loquacious Graham Cairns.
Yay, thank you. My apologies, I'd forgotten to put the screen back to gallery view, so we were going to spend the next 3 minutes watching Judith further. The purpose of an evaluation, and we've spoken about this before during the Speechcraft course, the purpose of the evaluation is to provide some feedback to the speaker, but also to provide some feedback to the entire club so that we can all learn and grow and develop. Stephen's presentation today, why does colour mean so much, was the writing a speech with purpose presentation. And I wrote down that as far as I could see, the purpose of this speech was to educate and inform the audience about the Tour de France and the colours that are represented. And if that was the purpose of this speech, and I have no reason to doubt that it was, then I believe that Steve did really well. He actually explained what those various jerseys meant. And I must admit, I knew what the yellow jersey was because I'm a journalist. I have to know these sorts of things, but I didn't know that the polka dot, for example, was King of the Mountain. So well done on informing us. I thought there was some fascinating information being presented there, and particularly the trivia, for example, about the reason for the yellow jersey being yellow, because the newspapers would be printed in yellow at the time. I thought that was really well done. Something that Stephen might like to work on is, I felt he got a little disjointed there. So what he might have done at the beginning was said, in the Tour de France, there are these coloured jerseys, and gone through yellow, white, polka dot, etc. And then done just a short piece on each one and then summarised. So let's remind you of what I've said. We've had these colours and that's what these represent. So tell your audience what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. That way they will remember the first bit and they'll remember the last bit. And if you've got any luck, they'll remember the bit in the middle that you've referred to at the beginning and the end. One other observation, and this is something specifically for those online. Steve and I noticed had some notes, and that's fine. The notes were to the right, I believe, of his screen, or they may have been to the left. But either way, Steve spent some time looking away from the camera at his notes, just catching up on them. If you're going to use notes in an online environment, either use little post-it notes that are stuck all the way around your camera so that you are always looking at the camera, or put it in text, but just put it directly below the camera on your screen so that we don't notice that you're reading from notes. But having said that, I really enjoyed this presentation. It went a little long, so have I. I'm going to shut up and hand to our second evaluator, who I believe is Anthony. 2 minutes? Yep. Well, we can today. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cairns. So, Judith, excellent speech. Thank you very much for that presentation today on the topic of pathways and the positive things about pathways. So for all our guests here today, pathways are what we do in Toastmasters now. Now it's all the 21st century. Yeah, that's right. So we're doing everything online now. In my day, we had books. And back in the day when I started Toastmasters, you used to get your book out and write notes in it. And now it's all online. So there we are, new century, right? New technology. So Judith gave a good speech. I love the fact she was very clear and direct. And like right now, she's looking us right in the eye. So she was very centered, great, very confident. I didn't see any notes. I didn't see any obvious use of notes. So as Graham mentioned before. So again, that's great. Lack of notes means you can engage more, you have better eye contact. So that was great for this speech. So it doesn't matter if you're here on the stage or online, if you can avoid using notes, that just helps your eye contact and your engagement. So that was a great thing about this speech. I love the vocal variety. She used to emphasize the examples there, like going up, going down. So that was good as well. gestures. We had some gestures as well, which you can do more when you're on stage, right? You can walk around and jump up and down, that kind of stuff, which you can't do when you're online, right? But that was great as well. And I love the fact she gave us a good outline of pathways and everything about it. So points of improvement, and we always try and have points of improvement to try and get better. I was thinking maybe a few pauses, just to add some emphasis on a few key points, just to pause occasionally. Maybe a few visual aids, like she could have done maybe some slides, just to try and outline pathways for us who are pretty dumb like myself and can't read, you know, so it helps the engagement to maybe a few visual aids. But heck, otherwise, that's two things I could just think about was the pauses and the slides maybe. But otherwise, it was a great speech. We had great, clear grammar, great for the audience, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Anthony and Graham. And Graham's going to come up now. Graham, the wonderful, comparable, loquacious and dad joking, Graham is going to talk about body language. This is something we all need to know about.
For this one, I'm going to clip the microphone on because I'm going to move the lectern out of the way. Hello. I am really, really excited to be here today to tell you all about how to use body language in your presentations. I think that it's really important that you learn how to use body language, and so that what your body is saying actually makes what your words saying the same. Not very effective, I'm pretty sure you'd agree. The thing about body language, and we hear about body language, and there are body language experts who'll tell you that if the smile goes up, or if you're looking up to the right, then it means you're thinking. If you're looking up to the left, then it means you're lying. There are all sorts of theories about body language. There are theories about how if you stand there adopting a power pose at the beginning of your presentation, then that will make you feel more confident. It'll make you feel like Superman or Superwoman. I think it's a load of rubbish, but the point remains, if it works for you, use it. What we're going to talk about over the next 3 minutes, though, is how to use body language in your presentations as a relatively new speaker, and why you use the gestures that you do. The first thing to do is to bear in mind that what your body says should reflect what it is that you are saying. So, for example, if you're talking about something that happened in the past, then you might move to the left part of the presentation area. So here I am in the past. This is what has happened before. Today, I'm going to be telling you about this, but tomorrow you can expect that you will learn. And then if I'm going to go back to talking about something happened in the past, then I choose the same position for past, present, future, for this argument, that argument, being in the middle. Use your space effectively. But more importantly, because that's a sort of advanced technique, perhaps more importantly, think about why you're using your hands. You'll notice, for example, that I have a tendency to use what I call my T-Rex hands. They just sort of sit here and they don't actually do anything. But I try to use them to accentuate a point. If I'm making something strongly, I will make a fist and draw it towards me. If I'm going to be drawing your attention or inviting you, my hands are open and out. That's an inviting, inclusive gesture. Think about gestures that you can use when you are making a presentation. Stand behind the lectern if you need to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But bear in mind that what your body says should reflect what your words are saying. So if, for example, you're talking about something really reaching the heights and you're gesturing down, that doesn't work. But if you're talking about things soaring and really being exceptional, then raise your hands, make open gestures. The only other things that I would say, again, for beginning speakers is don't get fixated on getting gestures perfect, because that's not what they're for. They're just so that people stay interested in what you are saying. And if necessary, your hands in front of you is a perfectly reasonable way to hold your hands, particularly if you're one of those people who tends to wave around a lot. Not a very good thing. That's what I'd like you to look at in body language for next week. And the reason that we do this, and Adi will talk about this a little later, we will be asking you to present next week a speech where body language is incorporated into your presentation. So we'll talk about how you might use body language and what sort of speeches lend themselves to the use of body language. Adi, it's all yours again. Give you back your lecture now.
Thank you very much. And you didn't fail us in that. Thank you, Graham. Now, we have an exciting time for everybody because not many people did speeches. So what have we got? Table topics, yay. So anybody who didn't give a table topic, didn't give a speech, is now going to be the target of a table topic. Please welcome Anthony with 1 minute only, table topics.
Do that. Okay, so table topics. So for our guests, this is the impromptu speaking part where you don't get any preparation. Sorry about that. And you get asked, you get put on the spot to give a 1 minute? 1 minute only impromptu speech. This is the scariest part of public speaking. But guess what? The good news is you get better over time with practice. So that's the good thing about these things. You get better eventually. It's taken me 10 years, but heck, I'll get there eventually. So the more practice, the better. So let's move on. And I've got a theme here from Adi, which is energy, which is great because having energy is awesome, especially on a Friday leading up to the weekend. Who doesn't have energy for that? So first topic is, now I'll probably go online first. So online, if you can just keep your ears pricked up. Online people, I have a zest. I have a zest. Now, who shall I go for first? Maybe bottom left. Who's bottom left? I can't read. Sue. Sue, are you online? Are you okay? I have a zest. Sue.
Mr. Table Topics Master, Toastmasters, I have a zest for food. And if you'll see how my scales have increased by 10 kilograms over the last few years, you'll understand exactly why I have a zest for food. I also like my wine too, but at the moment I'm doing dry July. So hopefully that scales will go down a little bit because I'm not having my few wines every night. But a zest for food. Food is part of our cultural enjoyment. And if we can't enjoy our food, unfortunately, we may be sick. And I often think, well, I might be overweight, but I look at people who are sick and can't eat and lose weight. And I think, what am I worried about? Enjoy my zest for food and ignore the scales. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Awesome. Thanks, Sue. 100% agree. Should enjoy our food and our drink. So that's all part of life, right? Got to enjoy it while you're here on the planet. So moving on, next topic is vitality. There was such vitality. Now, who can I look around for now online? Ellen. Ellen, how are you? You okay to speak? Great, okay.
I'm actually timing, so.
Ellen, sorry, Ellen with an E.
Thank you.
Yep. Ellen, you're good. So Ellen, the topic is, there was such vitality. There was such vitality.
I have a dog. His name's Max, and he is such a energetic, fun animal. He's a border collie. In fact, here's a photo. And isn't he sweet? He's the sweetest dog. So recently, I attended an art workshop, a watercolor painting workshop. And my teacher saw the photo and I was saying to him, how will I get my beautiful dog into my watercolor painting? And so he decided to paint my dog as one of our weekly projects. And he's done a fantastic job. And my dog looks so vital and alive in this watercolor painting that he's done, that I'm just so excited that I'm going to buy it now. But he captures the essence of my dog, and my dog is just full of energy, loves to play frisbee.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Ellen. So, Mark, you've been pretty quiet. So maybe I'll give you a topic next, if you don't mind, Mr. Mark. Is that okay? Great.
That's
okay.
fine.
So, Mark, your topic is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm was wild at the meeting. Who knew, right? Enthusiasm was wild at the meeting. Mark.
Enthusiasm was wild at the meeting. I mean, I'm so enthusiastic about this meeting, particularly since the topics have been talking about vitality, zest for life, and Steve's speech on Tour de France. I'm actually watching the Tour de France since the stage started last weekend, stage 1. So, yeah, I'm glued to the TV and enjoying all the amazing talk about energy, exhibits of energy from the cyclists who managed to get through these long, arduous stages of over 200 kilometres in some instances. So, yeah, I've been so motivated watching it all that I even get up in the morning and do a stage as well. My own little stage is only about 20 kilometres or so. But no, this going back to the meeting in general, it's just been so exciting listening to everyone, and I'm definitely engaged and motivated to continue on. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Awesome. So I hope you're getting some sleep with that Tour de France overnight, right? So hope you can stay awake, maybe lots of coffee, right? Daytime. So, okay, now moving on to Sandra, one of our speech crafters. Sandra, oh, you're in the room, sorry. Yep, come on down, Sandra. Now, Sandra, great to have you in the room here with us, and your topic is vigor. The dancers moved with, unlike my dancing, the dancers moved with vigor. The dancers moved with vigor. Vigor, vigor, vigor.
Bigger?
Yeah.
Bigger move. All right. Yes, well, the first image that I have in my mind is my husband. He likes dancing. He's Aussie. He's an Aussie boy. He loves dancing, but he dances in a with large steps, like a John Travolta stance. And when I try to teach him salsa or merengue music, he has a little bit of a combination of John Travolta dancing and also salsa. So it's a big steps for a big boy. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. Yes, my dancing, maybe John Travolta on a bad day, maybe when he's dead. That's my dancing. So moving on to Rob. You're here. Come on down. Welcome, welcome. And Rob, your topic is, oh, this is a good one. Everyone sensed the power this person had. Everyone sensed the power this person had. Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. And what an amazing topic, power. Well, of course, I can't go past the Tour of France because those guys, when they get on their bikes, is power personified. You cannot actually imagine how much power they've got in their legs and in their arms and in their bodies going up hills. And then not only do they power up the hills, but on the way down, they actually keep going. They keep pedaling and keep. If I was riding in the Tour de France, I think I'd be struggling to get up there and then I'd just cruise on the way down. So there's no chance that I'm going to be a Tour de Francer, but I do admire their power.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Yes, those mountains would be fun, especially in summer. So moving on to Long. Come on down. Okay, 80's given some tricky ones here. Okay, but I'll be nice to you, right? Because I'm generally okay, generally nice sometimes. So, Long, you've invented a light portable battery. Well done, you've invented a new battery. Why do you think this battery will become the #1 battery in the world? Long.
So this battery, it powers from another dimension. You get this, get this. It's really great, okay? It sucks the neutrons, the protons and electrons and transform it into another form of energy. And we heard that, that the universe is probably a simulation. Who knows what we're getting the energy from? And this battery is going to power the electrical vehicles we're going to have in the future. You know, electric cars, electric planes, electric just electric everything. And that will create a better sustainable future for all of us. You know, it will create another dimension that can be a different timeline where we can actually enjoy a sustainable future. This battery is going to be powered by a dimension and will power the world. Thank you.
Awesome. Well done, Long. All right, I think it's Dylan's turn. Dylan, come on down. Welcome. So Dylan, you're from California, right? So Elon Musk, that guy he's in Texas, I think now, but he was California. Elon asked you to join him on his next space mission to to Mars, somewhere in the outer space. What do you say to Elon? Are you going with Elon to the moon?
I think the answer, I'm kind of ambivalent on it because I would want to enjoy the experience. I would want to say that I went to the moon, but I do have a small fear of flying in jets as it is. And I think taking that next level from a jet to a spaceship, and as much as I admire Elon Musk, I think he's a bit wild, and I just wouldn't want to risk that small, actually, no, it would be a vast percentage of something going terribly, terribly wrong. So I guess, actually, you know what? I'm old enough now. I'll do it. If I die, I've had a good life. Thank you.
Great. Excellent. Okay, so I think that's a yes from Dylan. Qualified yes. All right, for Elon, maybe when Dylan gets older and, you know, the clock's ticking, so right, might as well do it. So, okay, so maybe one of our guests in the room, perhaps Sue. Come on down, Sue. All right, Sue, got bad news for you, I'm afraid, from 80. The whole electricity grid has gone down on the whole East Coast. No power. This thing's gone kaput. We're doing this right now without any technology. Why are you unconcerned? Why are you unconcerned about power going down? Sue.
Mr. Table Topics Toastmasters in the room, and fellow guests. I would say that within us, we have enough energy to power the world. So why bother with electric grids? Why bother with hydro energy? They can find the source if we power the world. The whole energy conversation today really starts from us, from within human beings. If you know a little bit about science, you know how the electromagnetic waves that we transmit through towers, through these mobile networks that we find, they all reverberate and stem from the energy that humans exude. And that's the way we are able to communicate with each other through telepathic and electromagnetic waves. So if we can harness that energy in a way, I mean, science, as Dylan mentioned before, we have the technology and the capability and the artificial intelligence to go to Mars, for heaven's sake. Why cannot we solve the problems on Mother Earth? This is the thing that confounds me over and over again when we come across all these disasters, most of which are man-made. So let us try to channel some of that energy and scientific knowledge that we have in abundance amongst us to find that source and be able to provide our own electricity, and electrify our homes, provide the energy that we want, as well as harness more energy that we have within ourselves for the positive good of society. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Cool. Okay, that's deep. Thanks, Sue. Do I have time for one more or one more? Great. Eve, Evelyn, do you want to speak or? Great. Okay, come on down. Come on. Okay, so we're talking about energy. So, what gets you going in the morning? What gets you going in the morning?
I think the first thing I like is the coffee. I love coffee. No sugar, no milk, just plain coffee, black coffee, and then just like to go to the gym to do some workout in the morning. I think that helps me a lot. And then actually I feel a lot of energy, so I can work pretty much like 14 hours a day or 12 hours a day. And I think for me, as a Latin American, coffee is great. And in my country, we have such a nice coffee too. So I love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. Awesome. Thanks very much. Yes, South American coffee is excellent. So I think that's my time up now. So back to Toastmasters. Thanks, Lady.
Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you, Anthony. You took those perfectly. And I'm so pleased with all the different responses. We've got a bit of science fiction, we've got a bit of humor, we've got a bit of something totally different. And then we're going on to, oh, I'm off camera. Yes, so I am. Here I am. Oh, I found myself. Yes, but I think you might have heard me. Thank you very much, Graham, for finding where I was. Now I have to find out where I am. In educational, I think, yes, on evaluation. We've got that. I think most of you have had, keeping on the camera, most of you have had a handout sent to you by Graham about 2 weeks ago, which included Speechcraft, giving and receiving feedback. And I think we'll send it out again today. But this is about, in short, evaluations. So what is an evaluation? I'm just trying to find what I've got down here. No. Evaluation is where you listen actively to somebody speaking, and your active listening allows you to hear how they are doing, what they are doing with their speaking, and where you can see points to improve it. Can you still hear me there? Okay. So when you're listening to somebody in Toastmasters, you might think, first, I can find out what their speech objective is and work towards that. Second, we might find out what their personal objectives are. So the speech objective might be to demonstrate body language. That was just a very random demonstration. But if they're looking for a personal objective, it might be to be really honest with themselves and the room, or it might be to overcome speaking too fast, because then they can't hear what they're saying. All right. Sometimes people do speak too fast because of different things like nervousness, or because they feel they need to cram everything that they want to say into a short period of time. And this is just something you will overcome over time by listening to people speak and evaluate you and timing yourself and watching the timing lights. And after a while, it becomes natural. Another thing is when you evaluate people, and when I evaluate people, what I'm trying to do is give value to their speaking. I want to make sure that they have found something of value that they might not have noticed otherwise. And when they find something of value, it might encourage them to continue speaking. So I've heard some terrible evaluations. I've heard one evaluation so bad that the person said, they told me all these points that I needed to improve. I don't think I'm going to come back, because that person was absolutely devastated by the evaluation. Do you think that that person who was giving the evaluation gave value? Not me, I don't. I've heard some wonderful evaluations that really lifted up the people who are hearing that and made them want to be as good an evaluator and do as well themselves. So when we speak to somebody else in a club meeting and we're giving evaluation, we are trying to lift them up, give them heart. We're trying to encourage them, which means put heart in courage. Courage is part from the heart, French word for heart, cœur. So we're trying to encourage them to carry on. If we can encourage people, then they may stay in our club. That's a good point. And if we encourage people, they may go out and encourage others. And that's what I'd love to feel, that that's something that we've had a part of when we give evaluation. So how do we do that? We can have a structure for evaluations. And I might give these structures to you later. One of them is called gift. What's good about your speech? Inform, fine-tune, and thank. So when the speech and the speaker are really, really, very good, you can, they deserve to have their points in emphasis. So give them that. Others are HSF, heard, saw, felt. So if you hear the speaker saying something and you saw it, you give that back to them, what you heard and you saw and what you felt. That is direct observation. And by being direct in your observations and using I statements like, I saw you swaying at the lectern, or I heard you speaking very fast. If you slow down your speech, it might be more effective. We might hear the words better. I will send these out for you, these points, but I'd like you to consider that an evaluation is there to uplift the person, to encourage them to carry on, and to give them your observations. This, handing over to myself now. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Next we have, what is the next bit? Preparation for section 5. All right. I haven't got section 5 up here with me. Yeah, please. I'm going to invite Graham up to talk about it.
Thank you. Anyway, I'll actually be running next week, so I know what we're doing next week. Next week, you will be giving a speech that uses body language. Now, we spoke before about how body language makes what you are saying more coherent, but there are some presentations that lend themselves more to body language than to others. For example, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a speech by Dom where he was talking about parachuting into the fields of England, and he was using swaying. He was using his body language to show us what it was like to be parachuting. You might like to consider what presentation you could give next week that will allow you to use your body language. And we'll break off into two groups, one group here in the room in a moment and the other group online, where we'll discuss evaluation, because as of next week, Speechcrafters will be providing the evaluations for other Speechcrafters. So if you're giving a speech next week, one of the other Speechcrafters will be giving you an evaluation. If you're not speaking next week, then you will be providing an evaluation of somebody who is. So we'll talk about evaluation, but we'll also talk in these two breakout groups about what sort of speeches lend themselves to use of body language. Does that make sense to everybody online? Helen, I might get you and Tom to lead this discussion on this. And we'll leave the discussion here. I'm going to mute you guys so that you don't hear us and so that we don't hear you. We'll come back at around about 2 minutes to the hour. So you've got about 6 or 7 minutes to discuss the nature of evaluations, to allow our speech crafters to get used to the idea of giving an evaluation, but also to discuss what would work for next week's presentations. So if everybody's happy with that, we'll break into those groups and we'll be back, as I say, at 2 minutes to the hour.
Okay, everyone, let's unmute so we have some open discussion. So we're talking about, and I think we've got all experienced Toastmasters here, so we should be able to bounce a few ideas. What's worked for you? So we might go round the screen here. Sue, what works for you for body language?
A doing speech, like something I'm doing or explaining how I do something. One that comes to mind straight away, I'm a cake decorator, and at one time I had this huge cake to make, and it was like 6 levels and all different sizes, and I had to get the boards, and I had to cut the boards the right size. So anything that would lend itself to doing the actions while I'm talking about the speech.
Sounds good. Tom?
I think my main key with gestures or body language is to make sure your every movement has a purpose. And that our body, we want our gestures to look as natural as possible. Like, we often use our hands waving around to emphasize, making sure that when we're doing that, there's a little bit of a less is more approach, in that if your hands are waving with every single word you're saying, the effect gets lost. But if they're used a little bit more sparingly and to emphasize a particular point, those are the most effective gestures.
Steve, what's your thoughts?
Is that me?
Yep.
I was going to mention, I saw I think it was a TED talk once by this guy called Dave Phillips, who is involved in speaking in some way, but he wanted to improve his body language. Anyway, he ended up traveling the world, speaking to all the best speakers, and coming up with all the techniques. And he came up with 133, I think it was, different forms of body language, and what each of those particular positions or movements meant. And it was amazing how much he could communicate with body language. How important body language is, and how much it can convey.
Yep, sounds good. Mark, did you want to contribute?
Yeah, I think all the points that everybody mentioned are relevant, and I think particularly now in the online world, I fall into the trap of not using as much body language. Maybe I'm using a little bit here, but it seems to be so much obviously constrained from here to the chest to your head. How can we enhance that? And I think if we are going to do a body language talk, I'm assuming there'll be some people online next week. We could enhance that. I've been sitting down, so yeah, I just think it's important to think about the environment you're in, where you want to do this talk. You've got to think about that, and sometimes that's great down when you're in the lecture, in the actual room there, you move the lectern to the right or the left, and then do the body language straight away, because if you leave the lectern there, you tend to be constrained as well. So yeah, it's really important to know what environment you're speaking at, and then enhance the body language according to the environment. Yeah. Thanks.
Judith?
Thank you, Helen. I've got a wall behind me, so I can't move back too far, but we've got swimming with the dog paddling and the breaststroke and the freestyle, and we've got Alan Pease wrote a very good book many years ago on body language in the office, where people sit with their hands behind their head and like, I know everything. And or the one where you shake hands, and there's many different styles of shaking hands with people. So if you're in a situation where you can do it with two people in the room, you can practice the handshake. That means you're equal. If you put your hand on top, it means you're better. You feel you're better than that person, and those kinds of things that go with body language. So yeah, different strokes for different folks and the way we do things. Thank you.
And Ellen?
Yeah, I was wondering about perhaps saying, talk about it, you know, out shopping or somewhere with a child and the emotions. Perhaps the child might have a little tanty while you're out.
Yeah.
Using hands to emphasize points, you know, number 1, number 2, number 3, so on. Haven't quite got a topic in mind yet.
One of the other things I think how we can use body language is with, when we're talking about speaking with empathy, and you put your hand on your heart. Another one would be, you know, just if you actually, how Graham started his educational, he was very solemn and rigid, and he's saying, I am happy. Well, we know he's not happy because of his body language. So we have to make, as I think Tom even said, we make our body language reflect what we're saying. So if we are happy, we have to have that bright face. If we're glum, we can't be laughing. We need to be a bit more solemn. And I think there's some of the things that I've picked up, and I was just trying to find, I had something yesterday where it actually had all the different items you can have: empathy, happy, sad, but it had some really good examples. But, you know, as usual, you can never find that item that that you want on the tip of at that particular time. But I'm just going to see, no, it's not coming up, unfortunately. But if I do find it, I'll send it on to Graham to send out to everyone. Sue?
Yeah, I actually just said to Judith on chat not long ago, I really like the way Mark has positioned himself on his screen, and especially if you're doing an online speech, he sort of got from his waist up, so there's a lot more scope to use the hand language, and rather than having just the face showing. It's a good position there, Mark, that you've got.
Judith, can you move it all back? You said you had a wall behind you, but how?
Well, my computer's on the table, and I can move back a little bit, but then
can you push the computer away from you?
I probably could do that.
Yeah.
I regard that.
Okay, girl, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests and visitors, welcome back to the session, and thank you all. I hope it's been as valuable for you online in your room off as it has been down here. I hope you've all enjoyed it down here in the room. Okay. And I think when we give evaluations, just 1 or 2, no more is necessary. Otherwise we go with our head full and we can't think of them all. So this has been a great meeting for me. And what I'm looking for is next week, the future agenda. So what Graham was saying is, if you don't have a speech next week, then you'll be giving an evaluation. And if you do have a speech, then the week after you'll be giving a better evaluation. And Long, you might end up doing the time doing both. So since he's away next week. So thank you, everybody. I think that's all the meeting is. We will be sending out the notes from the evaluation and body language. And again, so guest comments, yes. So our guest is Evelyn. Can you say something about the meeting?
Yeah, I love it. Yes. Yeah, I'm really happy, yes, to be here, and I feel comfortable, and I understood everything. I love it. I'm very happy that Sandra actually told me because, yeah, I love it.
I've enjoyed the Forex Toastmasters as well, and particularly this time suits me well because I'm still looking for a job. I'm quite conscious that once I do find one, I won't be able to meet this lunchtime hour, but making full use of the opportunity in Brisbane. As I said earlier, I'm new to Brisbane, and enjoying the Speechcraft sessions as well. This is something that's quite new to me. I've just gone through the usual Toastmasters forum, but taking on as much learnings as possible from this exercise and enjoying the people and the networking too. Thank you very much.
There are no guests online, I don't believe. Nope, they're all either members or Speechcrafters. But we haven't actually heard much from Tom though.
Yeah. Tom, you've been an observer all this meeting. Can you say something about it?
Certainly, thanks, Adi. Obviously, enjoyed the chance to participate in the breakout session we've just had, which is a new thing for certainly the Forex meetings that I've attended, and that technology was quite seamless to allow twice as many speakers and to talk at once and to allow everyone to engage with the people either in the room or online.
Tom, can you give a point to everybody about how you felt and what your physical feeling was when you first spoke at a Toastmasters meeting?
When I first spoke at the Toastmasters meeting, we're looking about 4 years or so ago now. I'd fortunately been invited by a friend of mine who was a member of Forex Toastmasters at the time. So I had at least one friendly face in the building, but there's an element of anxiety going towards an audience, and particularly a new audience. But I also knew that it was a forum of people who were experienced and conveyed their experience and their willingness to assist. So that's something that we've certainly tried to convey as I've become a more experienced Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tom. And Tom is now the president of our club. So he's here for the next year in his role. And I think he's come a long way from that point in time. Well done, Tom. Thank you, everybody. And we'll just clear up and go.